Okay, yep, and then we're rolling. Hi, we're back. I don't know what to start this with. We're winter sowing today is what we're doing. The last time I recorded a video, I showed you my super fantastic seed haul of things that I bought in February that I wanted to grow out in the garden. And surprise, that's not all the seeds that I had. I have a few others from stuff that I experimented with at the end of last year. Some things that I harvested myself during the winter time when I couldn't get out and do any gardening. And then some random seeds that I had from a while ago, and I kind of just want to see if they'll actually grow now, even though I've had them for a little while. So the menagerie of things that you see in front of me right now is my attempt at turning my kitchen into a seed starting station. Yeah, it's a hot mess, but the reality is I have very little indoor space, which is part of the reason that I'm doing the winter sowing to begin with. So if you are not familiar, winter sowing involves taking plastic containers and putting holes in the bottom. And yeah, these holes are not good holes, but the ones that actually look like holes that my cameraman did, those will work a whole lot better. So, you know, if you want to talk about that, we can. But then you cut the bottle in half, fill it up with dirt. I'm explaining all of this, and I'll just show you what it looks like. Okay, let's do that. All right, so what I have here is a container of compost, which I've heard plenty of people say, don't use compost in your winter sowing. I've heard people say, oh, well, you need compost in there because in order for this to work, the plants need nutrients. I don't know what the answer is, but I just do stuff and then, you know, wait to see if it works. So in goes some compost, some of that. And then, much to my dismay, I am out of the coconut coir that I was using for all of the other hundreds of containers that I just planted. So I'll drop some of that in there. And somewhere around here, I have some more soil. There it is. Okay. So this is seed starting mix. I just watched a video earlier today where they talked about like how it's stupid that all of this stuff is marketed in different ways when at the end of the day it's all dirt. Agreed. I really just want a garden, so I'm putting a little bit of everything in here. Some of it is light and fluffy, like what's coming out of the bag. Some of it's a little bit heavier, like the compost. At the end of the day, it's dirt and it's fluffy enough that I think we're going to be fine. So I'm not going to stress about it too much. But add a little bit more moisture to this. And I did not have to do this earlier because the stuff that I was using earlier today had a little bit more moisture. But now we're going to go ahead and toss all of that around so that it's moist. It's not super wet. Like if I squeeze it, there's not water dripping out of it, but it does hold its shape. So that's how I know I had the right amount of moisture. Did learn that. So that is good. And now for the fun part, like what seeds do I put in here? OCD, my hands clean before I go on to the next part. Hey, I'm back. I've been planting a bunch of different seeds, and I'll show you like, you know, some of the different containers, as well as what started to sprout already. We'll get to that in a little bit. But what I want to put in here is something that I didn't show during my last video. This is an old peck of seeds from a flower show that I went to. I don't know, like maybe like 2 or 3 or 4 years ago. It's okra, but it's burgundy okra. I don't even know if I like okra, but I just thought it was cool that it was red. Do you see a theme here? I'm just planting stuff, and then if it grows, I'll eat it. And if I don't like it, I'll eat it anyway because I spent the time growing it. So let me open up this container. boys and girls, if you're interested in starting your own YouTube channel, make sure you plan what it is that you're gonna record first, or just wing it like I am. Okay, open. We've got, oh, these are nice size seeds. They're bigger than I thought they were gonna be. You can see there. Okay, and I'm just going to put a few of them in here. Especially since these seeds are 4 years old, the germination rate might not be quite as high as they would be with something else. So yeah, I roughly put about 9 of them in here and spaced them all apart. And then I'm just gonna top this off with a little bit more soil, which I will add some moisture to. So I don't believe in overcomplicating things. There's probably people that are cringing as they're watching this right now, like, no, don't like that. I will admit to being wrong if nothing comes up. But if it does, then you'll eat your words because I just did whatever. Okay. Add a little bit of water on top. And it's glistening right now, so I don't want to overdo it. That looks good. And then I'm going to seal this shut with this electrical tape. Now, with the tape, I chose electrical because it is waterproof, not water resistant. So these are going outside. I want to make sure that my tape doesn't wash off with any bad weather. And I also chose electrical tape because in theory, you should be able to write on it. Now, write on it, I could. Yes, I did that for my first couple of jugs. And then as I was moving stuff around, noticed that the lettering almost immediately wiped off. So I'm not doing that anymore. I'm writing directly on the jug instead. Or in some cases, with a couple of the other jugs, I just use these little flags and then wrote the seeds on them. And I use these for jugs that had multiple types of seeds in them so I could tell them apart. All right. That looks really like crazy and flimsy, but I can hold it by the handle, so that's pretty cool. And I wrote a number on these, so later on I would know what they are. I'm also writing the name on it because, like I said, when I wrote on the tape, it kind of came off. So, winter sowing, okra, may or may not grow, may or may not taste disgusting. I have no idea, but I'm going to try it out and I'll let you know how it goes. But let me take you over here to where I have all the other ones that I did earlier today. It's a combination of stuff. There's some peppers here, there's some squash, some more flowers. I did tomatoes, a bunch of things that I didn't think would survive in February in zone 7B. But apparently with winter sowing, none of the seeds will actually sprout until it's time for them to, and the jug kind of acts as protection until the weather conditions are right outside. So we'll see if that actually holds true, and I hope so, because I have at least 20 of these. This is just a few. There's more back out in the backyard, and I guess at some point I'll show you those too. But I have a bunch of those, and that's basically what I'm doing with the seeds that I showed you guys in my last couple of videos last week. Okay, we are upstairs in the loft where I am doing just a small bit of seed starting because there's only a small amount of space on this table right here. So I put what I could up here when I started winter sowing last weekend. And first of all, it's really hot up here. But I think my plants love that because within 3 days of me starting the seeds, they started sprouting like crazy. And I don't think they're going to be in these containers for very long, so I'm going to have to start repotting stuff a lot sooner than I planned. So what are we looking at? This one in the back, this is a variety of tomatoes. I put 4 different kinds in here so I could have a few of each to go in my raised beds a little bit later. I know you guys are like, what tomatoes did I plant? I've literally planted hundreds of seeds at this point, so I'll add it to the video later on if I can figure out how to do that. Okay. We've got peppers here. The peppers have not come up at all. And I kind of assumed that the tomatoes and the peppers would do the same thing, like around the same time. That's not what I'm seeing right now. So, you know, let's keep that one on standby. Here, I believe, and I realized that I did not label this container at all, but they do have labels on. I put everything on my computer too because I didn't want to forget. There's some kale, there's collards, there's arugula, which I think is what this one is right here, because those came up first. That was like one of the first things that sprouted. Yeah, I believe that is what's in there. Now, I noticed that all of the seedlings are reaching towards this window here. And each of these containers has like a little plug where I can add some power for LEDs. They're red and blue. So I may do that, but I'm also worried about if I add that these are like gonna grow out of the container like the next couple of days. So I'm not sure what I want to do with that yet, but I'll figure it out. Okay, for this one, I'm gonna take the lid off so you can see a little bit better in here. These are my basil seedlings, and I haven't opened this since they sprouted, but there aren't any holes in here, so I'm gonna give them a little bit of breathing room. And I can immediately tell that this one is my purple basil because all the little seedlings are purple. They're adorable. Looks like I need to turn everything around so they can reach back towards the window going that way. But this is a lot of basil here. Not too much that I'm concerned about being able to eat it. Like, that's not a problem for me or the people that I'm going to share it with. But basil seeds are tiny, so when I sprinkled them in here, I really couldn't tell where they were going. I just tried to do each variety in a straight line, and the seedlings are coming up that way. So when they get a little bit bigger, I'll start moving them into something else. But for now, those are looking good. This one right here, these are roselle seeds, as it says on the front, which is a type of hibiscus. This is where the calyx from sorrel comes from. And the calyx is that little red, juicy fruit looking thing that you boil and make into the tea. I know these have a really long growing season, so I wanted to grow them inside to start, and then I can move them outside when it gets a little bit warmer. But they are taking off pretty quickly, and just in the short amount of time I've had them in this window, I moved them up here earlier today, they've already started to get a little bit greener now that they're getting some sunlight. So I'm really excited to see how these go. I love sorrel. I think it's absolutely delicious because it's sweet like candy. So that's kind of like my jam. Yeah, I'm really excited to see these take off because it's not anything that I've grown before in the past, and I think it'll be an interesting add to the garden. So I've got those. And then lastly, in this bag right here is, this is a tray of lemongrass. And you can see these also doing the little reach towards the window, so I'll be turning these around too. I have a bunch of seeds in here because I was told that lemongrass is really tough to germinate, and apparently that is a bold-faced lie. I think every single seed that I put in this container has sprouted. Good news is I really like lemongrass, and I definitely have had a mosquito problem in my backyard in the past. So being able to plant some of this in the backyard to deter some mosquitoes and still have some left over to actually cook with and do some other crafting with, I think will be great. I've had a couple of requests already from people who said, oh, I didn't know you were growing lemongrass, but if you have some extra, I'd love to have some. I don't think I'm gonna have to worry about not being able to use it. So whatever makes it, we will use it, eat it, grass it, whatever. Yeah, we'll make it happen. So I'm gonna put them back in this little bag, which is basically like, it's like a little greenhouse in here. And then now what I'm doing is just blowing some carbon dioxide in there, because that's what plants breathe, unlike us. So we breathe that out, they breathe that in. It'll keep them growing pretty strong in there. So yes, that's what I have going on inside. Do I want to grow some more inside? Yes. Do I have places for it? Absolutely not. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that, because I can't stop putting seeds in dirt. It's just like, I find a container, and if it's dirtable, then plants are going in it. So I'll figure that part out when I run out of space to sleep, I guess. But this is what's happening. I was gonna say mid-February. We're probably like, what, 3 weeks into February now? 3 weeks in. So not too long from now, the weather should be changing in a way where I can start to move some things outside, at least temporarily. I realized that our frost date is not until, our last frost is towards the end of April. So there's a bit of a gap between when this stuff will be ready and when it actually needs to go outside, and I'll just figure it out as we go. But this is the craziness that is my new gardening life now, and I hope that you will continue to like, subscribe, and share my videos so that you can see more. Thanks, and I'll see you again for the next one.